Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Legend, where today I think it's time we start considering direction. We have spent the last entirety of the series so far just worrying about the basic functions of our empire, right? Trying to get reasonable food, income, population growth, industry and influence, enough dust to not be going broke every turn. But now that we have the basic engine of our empire, we need to figure out exactly where we're trying to take it. So to that end, let's visit the status screen. The status screen is made up of two parts. Up at the top here, we have the empire graphs, which show us the relative values for all of the players that we have met on a variety of things. What's everybody's food output been? What's everybody's industry output looking like? You can see we are joining the we're joining the game here very recently. Because it only contains information for players that you have met, obviously, for us right now, this is not super useful. This can be a really good way of keeping an eye on how players are doing relative to one another, but you have to get out there in the world and meet everybody before it serves that purpose. So we're working on that. We will be doing that soon. Let's talk about the victory status part down here at the bottom. We're going to ignore the score thing. Score victories broadly do not happen. Somebody will figure out one of the other victory conditions first. So there's a bunch of different ways to win a game of Endless Legend. Of course, probably most straightforwardly, if you are the only player who is left in the game, you win. This is unlikely to be the way things resolve, but it's not impossible. The expansion victory requires you to own a certain percentage of the total land regions on the map, and then, this tooltip tells you what that actual hard number is after the world generates. So we'd have to own 28 regions. One player would have to own 28 regions, and then I believe they have to hold on to them for a certain amount of time. Once somebody crosses the threshold, it starts like a victory countdown, and everybody else gets notified. This is very difficult. It's very difficult to hold an expansion victory. It's very difficult to get anywhere near this number of regions, especially with 7 other players in the game all watching this number and responding to you if you get close. The economic victory, we should talk a little bit about people's actual values here. So the green player, the Mycera, has a very low expansion value because they have sort of a single settlement mechanic. A Mycera player is not going to win an expansion victory. It seems very unlikely. Red, of course, has a very low value because we backed them into a corner of our tiny little continent and they haven't yet figured out how to deal with that. And then we're doing better, but obviously nowhere close to victory. And I'm sure there are other players who have much more land than we do. The economic victory is won by simply accumulating enough dust. You can see there that is quite a large number, over 1.2 million, with us making 60 per turn. It would be a while. It would take a while for us to accumulate this amount. To be clear, you do not have to have 1.2 million on hand. You just have to have made that much. So spending dust does not hamper our ability to win the economic victory. That said, everybody that we know is effectively at 0%. It's a very large number. The diplomatic victory relies on a resource called diplomatic points that we haven't talked about at all. But every turn, every player earns some number of diplomatic points based on their relationship with every other player that they have met so far. And if we jump back to this screen, you can see real quick here, we are currently getting 2 diplomatic points each turn, 1 from each empire that we are at Cold War with. You get more diplomatic points per turn for being at peace with people, and even more than that for being allied with other people. And whenever you make a diplomatic contract that gets accepted, one of those ones where you have to, get their approval bar up, you earn a number of diplomatic points based on the number of points of influence you had to spend to propose the deal. So, this is a very influence-focused victory, but you actually can win it just by being friendly enough with enough people for long enough. As your diplomatic score increases, obviously, many players will want to cut off relations with you to prevent you from getting there, so it's not always as easy as you might hope. The Wonder Victory requires you to get to the end of your faction quest when you complete your faction's quest, you will be given the ability to build a wonder, the Temple of the Earth's Core, which will create enough... A temple that you build underground that will create enough heat that, in theory, you can just go down there and survive the coming Ice Age. And it will also open up a victory quest that you can do. So both the quest victory and the wonder victory are tied to finishing the multi-stage faction quest that you get when you found your first city. The scientific victory requires you to research 5 of the 6 special technologies. And if we jump over here, you can see Era 6 just has these 6 technologies that dramatically boost your resource incomes. Get 5 of these and you immediately win. The other players will, of course, be notified as you research this stuff. So you do become a target immediately once you start working on any of these things. And then finally, the Supremacy Victory is just hold all 8 of the original capital cities. This is technically different from an Elimination Victory, but in practice, the way you will play for those victories is pretty similar, right? You need to have a great big army, and we're not probably in a position to be pushing for a military victory, just because the world is huge and we have functionally no military. So we're probably going for more of an internal victory. The Wild Walkers, in my experience, have a pretty good push for the Wonder Victory because their faction quest is not terribly difficult, and they're very, very good at generating industry, so you can actually build the big fancy thing. That said, I am way behind on where I probably ought to be in finishing our faction quest. And actually, this here shows you how many stages of each player's faction quest they've completed. So yeah, I'm slacking. We have not been putting a lot of effort into it. I've been trying to get basically functional and haven't really been focusing on that. But we may be able to make a lot of quick steps on it now that we are functional. And we are working toward the next step of it as we speak, right? So hopefully we'll get there soon. So I think for the moment, that's our direction. Obviously, we want to remain viable on as many victory types as we can, and we're pushing hard on science, so hopefully we can catch up. Actually, let's take a quick look at the status graph for research. So this just shows you the total number of unlocked technologies. There is also a science per turn output. Okay, I don't know what green did. Green was really, really rocking research for a while there. But you can see we're sort of catching up to where the other players are now, which unfortunately is not good enough to make up this gap. We're going to have to keep growing. But, I mean, that was the plan anyway, right? Speaking of growing, now that we have enough influence to reliably run our empire plans without having to devote any effort to producing influence, this would probably be a pretty good time to think about the next city. And, Yeg is still here. It still has both spices and gold available. I think we care about Yeg quite a bit. So, right. We have to get this stuff done, so that city's queue is gummed up for a while. We're going to be doing some building over here. I'm sure Endigir just has, a lot of stuff to get done. And what about Slick? Okay. I think building a settler in Slick might be a reasonable thing to do. Where would we want to settle in this region? There are no anomalies here, right? Right. So, obviously just settling around trees is a good idea. Oh, and there's a river. Okay. So yeah, down here by the coast, river tiles that have extra food on them, and then forest tiles that have extra industry on them from our living towns trait. So down by the coast seems pretty good. Okay. And in fact, this tile being a forest tile that has spices on it, that's pretty strong. Okay, so we can get a pretty decent settle going there. Let's go ahead and throw the settler into the queue, and does it make sense to go all industry? Well, actually, can we push that point of population out? Okay, let's do it like this. Let's get the point of population finished, and then put everybody on the settler. We're not in a huge hurry, but we do want to get there. Also, we have some kind of movement queued up. So if I get in the ocean here, I guess we could just plan to get back in the water up here. Right, just sail up the coast, grab all these pearls, meet this player, and then get back in the ocean near where we're going to have to go for the next quest step anyway. Yeah. I mean, that's the direction we want to head in. So, there's a lot of interesting aspects to the naval gameplay of Endless Legend, but I know that some of the naval systems are not enabled on the Auriga map because they wanted it to be playable for people who don't have the expansions. So, naval gameplay is going to be a little bit less important this game than it will be in the games in the future, when we're just playing on the normal procedurally generated maps. So how many pearls is that? I'm not going to veer off for 3 pearls. We know that there's the big deposit over here that I definitely want to grab. Okay, that was a pretty huge number of pearls. Wow, this winter's really late. We've been in the winter window for some time. So our gold has run out. Let's just go ahead and fire that again. And y'all just wait here, I guess. So, do I want to... Let's devote everybody to industry from here. The next citizen will be born, and then the settler will become the top item in the queue, stopping food growth, and we'll all be devoted to producing that settler as quickly as possible, and then we can figure everything else out from there. And do we want to use this ranger for anything? I probably just want to wait until these units are complete and then run them up to meet with the hero up near the ruins. You know, maybe I should have made a demon first. So that music that's playing is the You Moved Up to a New Era music. So there's a whole new group of luxury resources available. The 2 mid-level strategic resources are now available to us. We can get better empire plans. And honestly, we're in a position where we might even be able to afford one if we wanted to devote some people to influence real quick. Newly trained units start at the level of your empire, so just arraying up means you do get better troops, even if you're not changing their equipment, and new weapons and armor available. So, let's see. What did we find? We discovered 3 sources of adamantium and 1 palladium inside of our territory already. So that's not quite what I was hoping for. Okay, but there's both adamantium and palladium in Yegg and Titan Bones. Wow. Alright, that's a hell of a region. Ooh, okay. And as far as new luxuries go, 3 sources of Moonleaf. 2 Quicksilver and... Oh, there are Titan Bones right outside the capital, too. Oh my god. This is excellent. This, I'll say this. We started in territory where we're not getting as much benefit from our forest specializations as we might have liked, but, like, as far as resources go, this is a very rich island. Okay, so, if we want the new stuff, we're obviously going to have to get extractor tech for it. What is this that we're almost at? Ah. Okay. So, here's a consideration. It's been a while since one of the AI entered Era 3, right? That happened quite some time ago. We don't know exactly how close the AI are to Era 4, but it could, in theory, be any time now, really, right? When someone enters Era 4, this is probably going to fire immediately. The fact that we have 94 approval and we are ranked 7th in overall approval suggests to me that there are probably 6 players who are just at the approval cap, right? Just sitting there at maximum. Remember what we talked about with the buildings and stuff. The player wins ties. The player is considered to be first if the player is tied for first. So if we can have 100 approval when somebody flips over to Era 4, regardless of how everybody else is doing, we will win this achievement and we'll get the Benevolent Emperor city improvement, which sure would be nice to have. Look at how much money that is. Just doubles the dust output of the cities you build it in. So, a thing to consider. Perhaps we should pursue that. And to that end, it is worth noting, there's a technology here that does not require you to build anything that just lowers the expansion disapproval in all of your cities. This is just a bunch of free approval. That said, there are an awful lot of very powerful technologies here in Era 3. Of course, there's the new extractors. And I'm inclined to go this way, even if we do really want to focus on approval. Getting Moonleaf and Titan Bones coming in is probably a pretty good way to do that, right? Because the higher tier resources give more approval when you fire them. Our little Era 1 resources give 5 approval per booster, but these Era 3 resources give 10. So, keeping a couple of mid-tier luxury resource boosters running at all times would do a lot for us. But it's also worth noting that just like the raw science and food and dust and industry output buildings in this era are also very good. The influence building in particular, extra influence from every district that a city builds and also doubles the output of citizens working on influence. It's a big deal. And then there's the cargo docks, which lets you do ocean trade and dramatically increases the industry output of your city, and there's a lot of really, really powerful stuff here. This is also where you get the technology for the first Guardian, which we had talked about a little bit. And if you're doing a lot of naval work, the ship that is available in this era is also incredibly powerful. Just huge, huge cannons that fire out artillery ranges. Era 3 is a big, important moment in your empire. A lot of the good buildings, of course, like the plow factory here, require the new strategic resources, but not all of them. The dust refinery is just made of glass steel, and it's a lot of dust. I think we're going to stick with Reaping Station first, and we might go into Smelting Station right after, because it is very important to get those new resources running. Alright, we're working on this. And then we just have so many things that we need to build. What I was saying before I got distracted talking about our era change is I should have made a demon first, because we could have had them fly over here and grab this pearl and then come back. As it is, I don't think it'll be worth running this demon over there, because by the time they get over there, we'll be ready for everybody to go north. Alright, so let's say howdy to this player. We have to get vision of one of their units or one of their exploitation tiles. Oh, this may turn out to be a little more difficult than I thought. They're a bit further away. Alright, well that's fine. We'll figure it out. And what are heroes at right now? Oh, right, I'm banned from the marketplace. Never mind. Do we have anybody who is focused on dust, then? In Amenvar, the whole population is making dust. Obviously, it's less important now. Does Amenvar does have a lot of science from its tiles. Actually, the Geomic Labs would be really good here. Let's go ahead and build those. If we pull everybody off of this, we'll be slightly dust negative. But that's maybe not even true anymore once this burrow gets built. It's worth noting, each burrow does lower the city's approval by 10, but then as burrows level up, if you get a burrow to level 2, it gives plus 15 back, so it offsets it offsets the penalty and then grows beyond it even. So very important to build your cities out in such a way that you are surrounding your districts on 4 sides so that everything is leveling up. And there's a couple of different city shapes you can use to do that efficiently. Yeah, I guess for now we'll stay on dust, because I really don't want to end up broke, and I do want to be able to buy Arla Sabor back. Alright. We'll just continue on for the moment. So you can see some of the sea tiles have some unusual art on them. Out on the open ocean, there's a concept of weather that moves around the tiles turn by turn. So you can see it's a little clearer at this level of zoom where you get the sort of the weather drawn in on the map. This tile is currently experiencing turbulence, which lets you move through it faster, but also makes your ships worse at attacking while they're in it. But it might be helpful for getting us... There we go. Getting us to one of these cities. Ah, I see. The cult. Okay. The, potentially a problem. The cult, I can't remember what they're called. The cult of the eternal end, I think. They're another single territory civilization, which means that the land around them might actually be available to us. And yeah, we can see that this area is uncolored, unsettled by other players. But also, they can be a little bit aggressive with their neighbors. They really like having empty territory next to them for a couple of weird mechanical reasons. So if we do settle over here, we are going to have to actually be able to defend ourselves. A concern to maybe worry about later. For the moment, we'll skim along the coast here and get some vision, and then we'll come back up here to complete this quest. You know what? It strikes me, actually, maybe we should get this ranger moving now. The demons will be able to get there pretty directly because they can just fly over a lot of the cliffs. But an army can't. An army cannot use flying movement unless every unit in the army is flying. So they won't be able to. They will not be able to get the ranger over the cliffs. So let's have her start running now. Okay, there's a Mycera vessel with the inhabitants in it. In theory, they could just attack us on the open ocean. So we do have to be a little wary of that. What is going on with this? Why is this part of a... It's glowing. And there's definitely some stuff radiating out from it. Is this part of a quest that I've forgotten about? Also, nobody else anywhere in the world has killed any Urkin lice. Oh, right, we need to investigate ruins. I've totally forgot about this thing. There's so many quests and stuff going on. You can understand how I might lose... Stuff might get lost. I have no idea. I have no idea what this, like, gold radiating off effect is. The Mycera are doing something here. So the Mycera use these fungal gates to move around the world. They, like, infest building sites and then come up from underground. I am, let's say gently, disinclined to mess with that right now. Just seems like a lot of work. An enemy army is pillaging my stuff. Well... that could be a red army doing that. The slice that they're taking out of this building's health every turn is gray, so it could be a neutral army, but also it just shows it to you in gray if you're not sure of the identity of the attacker. So we'll run somebody up there to say howdy. Just see what the hell's going on. And then I guess, you know, in this city we could build some more troops, I suppose. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build another burrow. We're going to build a burrow right over top of this moonleaf deposit right here. Because burrows that are built over strategic or luxury resources will automatically begin to extract them as soon as you have the appropriate extraction tech. We can start building the burrow now, and then when Reaping Station finishes, it'll pull that stuff for us. And we want to end up building this city out anyway so that we can start leveling up the districts, like I said. Boy, I wish we weren't banned from the market. Also. Okay, everybody's still... We're still happy enough to be fervent. Do we want to pop another 5-point approval booster? You're at 80 right now, so it would not take Amenvar up to 90 anyway. It wouldn't actually fix anything. I think we can probably just hold on to the resources for the moment. But I was going to look at our new Empire Plan stuff. Okay, so if we take the third level of Science and Industry, we get +2 science on each district. That's not amazing for us right now. We haven't really built up a situation where we benefit from that too much. We don't have that many districts. We could grab just +25 approval on all cities if we just get 80 more influence, which we totally could do, I think. And there's something to that. But if I think we're going to be able to maintain Fervent without it, then it really doesn't have a lot of value, and it's a lot of influence to spend in that way. I think we might just go for this again. Over here we have +3 dust for each citizen working on dust, a reduction in the dust buyout cost of buildings, additional dust from trade routes, and then up here, of course, mostly stuff that is military focused, cheaper units, stronger attack. A reduction in military upkeep is an economic bonus, but it's not going to be very big for us. I think we might just want to have some influence banked. So we'll go ahead and use the Empire plan that we used last time, and we will use the new luxury resources to try to control our approval. So with that, I think that's this turn. Can you get onto land right now? No, it would be a turn of travel and then getting onto land. So I was saying, if we could get onto land immediately, I might have done so just to be able to escape from the Mycera vessel, but it looks like they don't have much interest in us anyway. Is that a settler? It is. It is a red settler. Excuse me. How do you think you are? Yeah, sees our military unit and is changing the mind. So, like I said, in my experience, the AI is usually quite reluctant to settle in a non-contiguous fashion, but they will do it eventually. This is a really good time for us to run a unit up here and potentially spook them, although we don't know for sure. That could be a red army that would be able to function as reinforcements for them. In any case, they don't want to fight us, right? It's 250 to get you. So next turn we can buy our Lecebor and then immediately just attach her to this army to provide a considerable boost in the military strength of that force. I think we can take another turn or two here to just... Oh! Photios, that is a Guardian. Now, it's a Guardian on a transport ship that we could probably just sink. And maybe we ought to. You don't see this very often. This is not a thing that happens that much. You know what? We wouldn't be able to sink it, though. They would just retreat. But we could make them retreat now, and then try to attack them immediately at the beginning of next turn, so that their choices would be retreat and die or fight and die. The question is, do I think it's a good idea to antagonize green further than we already have? Because, like, what if we just made a friend? What if we were nice to somebody for a change? Right now, they do not consider us to be much of a threat, probably, fairly. How would they take... Ooh, okay, they are really not interested in peace. Yep, and they're also really, like, in terms of moving up approval of a contract, they're really not interested in any of the resources that we have on hand. Okay, well... let's not attack. I don't think that they're much of a threat to us at the moment, and while we could cost them one powerful unit for sure, I just don't know that I think it's very valuable to do so in the long run. I think that the anger we will create is way more of a problem than the military advantage that we will create is a benefit. Okay, so we could get on land over here. How much time do we have left before the demons are finished? 6 turns at our current rate. Probably not worth getting... Yeah, it's probably not. We won't have very much time to look around. It would be nice to search one more ruin, but I guess we're gonna get a ruin search done when we actually move our quest forward, and that will finish that other quest as well. So yeah, I guess we'll just go home. Alright, let's see what this settler does. I am prepared to intercept. In fact, I'm gonna move to right here and just let them know that they need to leave. And then we're gonna come over here because I want vision of, yes, it is in fact a red army sitting in my territory, annoying me and trying to steal my stuff. Alright, they're trying to execute a maneuver here that I do not want them to execute. Okay. They see that I see them, and they are going to flee before I attack. Alright, well, let's just have our settler run full speed out of here. So it would take... Like, ideally, I want to settle, like, here, I think. Oh, I can't settle on that space because there's currently a fungal thing on that space, I think. This wouldn't be a terrible tile to settle in either. I just want to make sure that we're getting all three of these. Actually, you know what? This is the better tile. Because I want to get all three of the river spaces and all three of the forest spaces. Okay, the tile where the river flows out into the ocean does get the bonus food from being a river tile. So I guess, actually, both of these two spaces are strong. Yeah, whatever. This is fine. So the bad news about that is that we do not get this settle next turn, which means this settler has enough time to run in here and drop a city next turn, and we would get locked out. So I think this would be a good moment to restore Arla Sabor, and then I'm gonna make Arla an army of her own right here. We're just going to create an army that is just her on Slick, and we're going to have her attack this settler immediately. Because you're out of movement. You can function as reinforcements, but that's all you can accomplish. And how dangerous is this dervish? It is a dervish 4, so this is an upgraded design. You can see it has bonus movement, 68 attack, 70 defense. A much more impressive version of the dervish than we were initially seeing. However, Arla's stats are bananas, because she has all that incredibly powerful weaponry. So, let's, we can definitely do this. Would I be able to attack from here? No, there's a cliff between those two tiles. Alright. We'll go like this. Oh, actually, I do have to be here to attack, because there's a cliff there as well. So they'll get their dervishes reinforcements, but we'll get Slick's garrison as reinforcements. Okay, somebody else just finished the Alchemic Institute. We can see who did it. Oh, it was the Mycera, in fact. Alright, so they have a Guardian, and they're completing legendary buildings. We might have to watch out for them. They might be a danger. Hold on. We'll get to this in a second. We've locked that in. Rich Silt. The Rich Silt event has just begun. Due to rich loads of nutrients uncovered by erosion, water tiles are producing more food. So sea and lake tiles. It's good news for us in some of our cities. The capital is definitely benefiting from that. The Titan Bones have run out, and we cannot... we do not have any Titan Bones to rerun that booster. I'm assuming it would be infeasible... Oh, right. I was about to say, I'm assuming it would be infeasible for us to purchase enough Titan Bones to fix that. And the answer is yes. Yes, it would be, for a number of reasons. Okay, so I don't think there's anything else really that we need to do here. Let's go ahead and put in some reinforcements. I'm not going to pull in the Ranger, because I think there's a real good chance the Ranger just gets killed by the Dervish. And obviously, we're not going to include the Settler. I mean, 95% they're going to just retreat here. But now this Settler is low enough on life that if it is forced to retreat again, it will die. Remember, a retreating unit loses health equal to 60% of its max HP, not its current HP. So units can absolutely just be killed by retreating. So we will attack again at the beginning of next turn and wipe that unit out, and Red's going to be very annoyed with us for doing so. So there is Quicksilver and Blood Crystal here. Blood Crystal is a plus attack resource. We've seen that before. I don't actually remember what Quicksilver does. Do we have any? No, we don't. If I actually look at the deposit on Mouseover, I think it'll... Wait, where is it? Ah. Okay, doubles XP gain on units. You know, honestly, that's not bad. That's a pretty useful luxury. Probably not a very high priority for us right now, though. I think maybe let's get... I mean, first of all, Geomic Labs, super quick to build, very high yield. We have a lot of science tiles. And then like an alchemy workshop, and we might want to just... I'm a little torn on the refocus here. Like, population obviously is very valuable, and the city does need more, but boy, our industry output is poor. Yeah, I'm going to focus on population there for the moment. Okay, so is smelting station next, or do we want to stop off and grab bread and circuses on our way to making sure that we have enough approval that we win this when somebody enters Era 4? At 80, we've fallen all the way to 85 since our booster ended, and that means we are in last place. You know what, I am going to grab that, because our expansion disapproval is already pretty harsh, if I'm not mistaken. Here we go. Yeah, we're currently suffering 30 expansion disapproval, and it's going to get greater when we put this city down. So this is going to be like a 10 point... This is a technology that is like 10 approval for every city, without us having to build anything. Seems like a pretty solid move. So there's no point in moving the demons until they're... You know, we're waiting on the second demon no matter what, so we may as well move them together. So we have 7 turns plus travel time. You know what? Maybe I'm reconsidering. Maybe it is worth getting up over here. Okay, yeah. Ruins to search. Oh, another player to meet. That'll be valuable. You still have a point of movement left. And all of our cities are still building things. Okay. I'm just going to mash attack here. As soon as the new turn starts, we are engaging. Oh, hey, it's winter. What a moment for it. Also, holy crap, our dust. Okay, let's lock that in. So, Aurigan winters are feared for their length and intensity. Much of an empire's effort during the other seasons must go into planning for winter's arrival or mitigating its effects. This time, why not try something different? Consider making winter a time of festivities, a time when families and communities come together, a time when shared values and experiences are celebrated. Enough of these dark moods that mirror the dark skies. Perhaps it might be better to shower your hard-working citizens in luxuries, giving them a bit of cheer to last through these frozen months. So we can get a moderate influence payout if we have 3 luxury boosts active at the same time. I mean, I would love to do that. Not for that payout, I don't really care about 80 influence, but just in general, seems like a pretty good idea. Okay, so do we want to grab a tier 1, like, dust per citizen improvement to help offset the terrible dust penalties from our winters? I think that's reasonable to do. So as we saw, the winter effect that we predicted would be added was in fact added. We're still suffering under this massive dust penalty. And Khazar, one of the Urkins, has been tamed by Blue. So Blue actually has... Oh, Blue the Forgotten. This little symbol at the top right of the banner here is the Forgotten. That's interesting, and you can see its health. They tamed it through combat rather than through giving it gifts. Which makes sense. The Forgotten are a bunch of jerks. Okay, so we know the Blue's territory is all the way down there. Oh, and we can see Pink here as well. Okay, very interesting. Interesting stuff. Let's run this battle real quickly. I do want to include Slick. They may actually try to fight this out. They shouldn't. They should just accept the loss, but the AI is sometimes a little ornery like that. Okay, so we are in no danger of losing our settle. This land is in fact mine. And I may as well fold you two together, reduce the number of armies that we have by 1 here. And I guess there's not much for you to do at the moment, except run around and look for pearls. That's a thing. Since winter has started, there will be new pearls, and we should go get them. And you can just grab some ruins real quick before you head back. Alright. The digs unearthed copious valuable materials, a large cache of endless writings, but of a vessel capable of traveling the stars, there is no sign. Lilk is furious. Oh, I had been reading that name as L-I-L-C, but it's L-L-I-C. Lick is furious. That's not a good name, my friend. 50 glass steel is like completely valueless to us. We already had enough glass steel, and we can't even sell it anymore, so that's a shame. We also found 10 palladium in the ruin. That is considerably more immediately relevant. So what are we going to do about this now? For such an academic, learned man, you'd never have guessed that Lick could work himself up into such a rage. That first night, when the expedition had explored every last antechamber in the scorched, endless ruins, when the soldiers sat exhausted from all the debris they'd cleared, when not an inkling of a so-called starship materialized, Lick's animal cries of frustration echoed through the entire ruins. The next day, his serenity returned, and his fire. A setback, he called the expeditions, nothing more. With the new endless writings uncovered, together with his old research, he was certain new leads would be discovered. The Endless were spacefaring gods, he says. The destruction throughout this ruin could only have been from successive launches of great vessels. So Lick believes the new Endless writings still hold the key to locating a launch site and a star vessel. We gotta increase our Empire science output by 45, and we will receive, in exchange, 15 Hyperium. This is a third-tier strategic resource. In theory, extremely high value, but we do not, at this point, have any way to use Hyperium. I suppose, if we had market access, we could sell it, at least, for something. And we found absolutely nothing in that ruin. Bummer. Alright, well, let's go get these pearls and try to meet these two players, and then turn around. We also are going to need to redevote some people. Oh, man. That is with this whole city still focused on dust, huh? Okay. That's not ideal. Well, so we're going to have to jump a bunch of cities over to dust focus. If I move you all over, it slows down that birth by quite a bit. I would like to get that one-turn citizen. We'll move some people over here, and then, like, in Slick, we'll move people over. I really don't want to take people off of industry in the capital, because, like, you know, faction quest. But it looks like we're going to have to. Now keep in mind, at the beginning of next turn, the increased dust per citizen is going to kick in, and we're going to be able to refocus a bunch of these people. But if we go negative on dust, it will disband some of our military units in order to shore up or shore down our costs, I guess. So it is worth it to make sure that doesn't happen. And now that the third winter has started, remember the third ring of technologies from the altar is available, and that's the thing we're going to have to examine. Red is just showing us military units, maybe to intimidate us, potentially. Alright. Are we just going to settle right here? I think so. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put down. If we leave that settler as a settler, Green's units are going to attack it. And, that does cause a bunch of problems immediately. You can see our Empire approval has dropped to merely happy because of all the new expansion disapproval. Bread and circuses will overwrite some of that. Yep, it jumped up to 40. Okay. So yeah, bread and circuses will offset exactly the amount of expansion disapproval that we just got, but we now have a new city that is dragging the Empire average downward, so a lot of stuff needs to happen here. We may want to keep some people devoted to dust. Obviously, I'm going to move you all back to industry. But yeah, in the other cities, we might want to keep people devoted to dust for the moment, to try to put together the money necessary to rush out some of the basics here in Yeg. And remember that our luxury booster costs have also risen now that we have another city. Now we're up at 30, which is a real shame. And yeah, in particular, we have a lot of resource extractors that we're going to have to build here. But first, we have to burn off the fungal extractors that the Mycera have built over here with spores. It's easy enough to do once you own the region. You can just do one action and it'll get rid of all of them. But that is 402 industry. And we can't buy it out, so it's gonna be a minute. It's a real shame, because I want those Titan bones coming in, like, quickly. We can bring an army over here and burn these off. Right now they're still being grown. Ah, we're going to end up antagonizing green anyway, huh? Alright, well. Here, let's do this. Let's clear out these neutrals. Should be relatively easy with our very powerful hero. So that they don't, you know, attack our city or anything. And I am inclined to just stay up here. Here, we'll have the hero start in the forest city tile for all of the morale and defense. And then, honestly, I may have the hero just not move for the first turn. The dredges have 100-ish attack against our 192 defense. Okay, never mind. They're not even going to do any meaningful damage. Yeah, let's just rush them. Don't let that one get around to the archers. Yeah, casual 227 damage, no big deal. Alright, obviously at this point, this is pretty resolved. Alright, and then yeah, we're gonna have to burn some stuff down. So the danger here is that green might declare war on us in response to us trying to stop them from getting resources. Because obviously they would like these resources. And if green does declare war on us, we're in a little bit of danger. We know that they have a guardian at the very least, and probably a fair amount of military stuff based on the strength we saw on the graph. But we can see their individual units aren't really that powerful. So it may just be the case that they have a lot of relatively low-tier soldiers. I have concerns, for sure. Well, we already know they're not going to make a deal of any kind with us. They do not they do not care for me already on account of the fungal bloom that I burned off of this ruin. So I guess there's nothing for it. It's just going to happen. Alright, can we meet... Ooh, I know who this is. I think if we step here, we should meet them properly. Maybe not. I was expecting, since we can see their tile and they can definitely see us from their tile, that would do it. Well, okay, we're going to have to turn around in a second here, but I did really want to establish contact, if we can. If only to get them on the graphs, so that we can have a sense of where they're at. One thing we could do with our supply of influence here is we could close our borders to green to force their troops out so that they can't defend... Well, they wouldn't be able to attack us in our territory anyway, right? They would have to declare war first. And once they declare war, it doesn't matter how much we have closed our borders. Do I even want to go forward? How much time are we looking at here? 4 turns plus travel... I think we can afford to go 1 turn deeper into their territory. I do not like the shape of this region, though. Yeah, we're not actually going to get to... Oh, okay. Hopefully, if this unit moves forward, we'll meet purple at least. Am I allowed to just introduce myself since I can see them? No. Okay. That is a thing that... It works that way in Endless Space too. If you can see somebody, but they can't see you, you have the option of introducing yourself. So the cultists have reached level 8 with one of their heroes. That's a shame. Our level 7 hero has recently gained some XP. We weren't close though. We needed another 200 experience to get up. Okay. We did, in fact, increase our Empire Science output. We finished building a geomic lab, like, right after we got this quest, I believe, so that was pretty straightforward. Eureka! The intense research of the Endless Writings has led to the reconstruction of an ancient device, a transmitting key that has opened a secret bunker in the earlier ruins. After so many years of searching, Lick cannot contain his excitement. Nobody, he believes, has ever resurrected endless technology before, even if that technology is, essentially, nothing more complex than a simple key to a door. But what lies beyond that door is most intriguing. The vaulter is sure all his prayers will be answered in that deep crypt, but other voices counsel that the archaeologist is making a leap of faith, that he is seeing order where there is only chaos. Others suggest that the secret bunker may indeed hold remains of the Endless, but not anything as grand as a starship. Your advisors also caution that it is not infeasible that ancient defensive forces may be triggered by any approach. Bringing a strong military force would be prudent, or, alternatively, a military force that's ready to just run away. So return to the previously explored ruin. Alright, well, we're gonna have to do that on our way back anyway. I am curious what we'll find. Okay, so all of our cities are doing stuff. I really don't think it's a good idea to move this population point off of food. We do desperately need the food, but man, it is going to take forever to get anything built here. The dust from this quest is going to be really helpful. Alright, please move forward onto the high ground so we can say hello. Alright, so the thing you just saw there is these Kapaku are volcano-forming this territory. I'm going to move away, because I don't know how aggressive they're feeling, and they could definitely challenge us. I'm going to steal these pearls on my way out, and nobody can stop me. And we met somebody, at least. So the Kapaku are all about volcanoes and heat and stuff, and their units actually have the ability to turn non-volcanic terrain into volcanic terrain, which is what we witnessed there. Not necessarily great neighbors for us, obviously, since we do not want any of that volcanic nonsense going on. Fortunately, we're far away and hopefully not in a position where they're likely to interfere with us. And then this army can come over here and we can maybe stop this bloom from happening. Yeah, it's not going to take as long to burn it off as it would have if we'd let it finish, I suppose. But yeah, I guess that's a reasonable thing for this army to be doing instead of trying to use the city to do it, because the city's industry is very valuable at the moment. Alright, so we've jumped back up to 81% here. This city is at exactly 60 approval, so we should definitely pop the emeralds then. 5 points of approval pushes the city over to happy, so that's definitely something. Slick is 5 points short of fervent, which is a shame. Is that district finished? Okay, yeah. The Moonleaf Extractor went up this turn, so we're going to start getting Moonleaf income, obviously at a rate of 1 resource per turn. That's going to be pretty insufficient, given how many cities we have, so we do need to get the other Moonleaf Extractors up as well. It's just, there's kind of a lot going on. This is not a good time. Oh, there's a second Moonleaf right here in this region. Well, yeah, go ahead and get that. This is not a good time for us to have winter. We were very busy. Let's also get the Moonleaf Extractor in this region going at some point. Would we be okay on food? I do sort of want to devote myself to building up this city as quickly as possible. But also, that Moonleaf Extractor would be very nice. Yeah, let's focus on it. Alright. Okay, all that stuff's going. So, what is next? Is it strategic extractor time, or do we want to start... You could do a lot with an awful lot of dust. Oh, and I should note, I said the Hyperium that we have is not very compelling, necessarily, because we don't have a way to use it to build things, and we can't sell it. But what we can do is trade it to other players. they are unlikely to have any, and so they will value it more. And we could maybe use it to buy our way back into the market. Let's just let's have a quick chat with Red and see how they feel about that. First of all, market ban nullification, apparently still very expensive. The cost on that is not coming down. Okay, so if I were willing to give you my Hyperium, no, they would not. They would not do that trade. We'd have to give them a lot. They do like the spices an awful lot, which I get. Spices are a very valuable luxury, which is the reason that we will not be trading them. But at some point, we do want to get access, like, we want to build up some dust and then do whatever it takes to get access to the market again so that we can buy a few heroes. It's not important that we get on that immediately. Okay, interesting. The Kapaku might consider peace with us. Let's have a look. How are you relative to everybody else? You're a Cold War with Green. You haven't met the other two players we know, and we have no idea if they've met the other players that we don't know, but in theory they must have met Brown at the very least, right? Because we saw their troops in Brown's territory. And if they've met Brown, they've almost certainly met Pink as well. So we could try to make a friend. We could try to forge a positive relationship here. They are not totally unwilling to start growing a bond. And in fact, they wouldn't ask very much of us at all. We could just give them a small amount of glass steel. Do they have anything I might want? Gold and wine, but not enough wine for us to pop a booster. So, no, not really. We could trade technologies with them. They already have smelting station. Okay, what if we went like... What if I ask you for smelting station and I trade you fancy tech in return? This adds so little approval to the bar that we can't even see it. It's still off the left side. So we're probably not going to be able to do that. But you know what? I am going to go out on a limb here. We're gonna offer them a little something. Probably not all of the glass steel. It can be beneficial to just make a deal that is significantly in someone else's favor, though. Hold on a second. What if I did give you all the glass steel and I just asked for a bunch of dust in return? Not all of your dust, but like a bunch. We could use this stuff to help build out that city, right? Let's say something like this. That is a 96 influence deal because you can see each cost has an influence, or each term has an influence cost. But that's fine by us. We actually have enough influence income to be able to do stuff like this. Yeah. Alright, cool. They're into it. So, while we are at peace, we cannot attack each other's units under any circumstances. We can trade with them if we can connect our cities in some way, such as if they have ports and we have ports. And there are new types of treaties available to us now that they are in this state. We can make commercial agreements and research agreements, which will increase the value of our trade with them. We can also do a vision exchange, which I actually really, really like. So let's see if we can get them to buy into that. I would gladly give you some titanium. Okay. Let's have a look at our new information. So they've explored the world a considerable amount. They have the city of Shiamir, their capital, just a solo region over here. And then they've settled one city on another continent. They know where the Mycera live. This is really interesting. Okay, so there are a lot of different land masses. What is Brown? Brown is Ardent Mages, right? Yeah, Brown is the Ardent Mages. So that's interesting. And then they actually have not seen Pink. But what we did there was we traded not just for their maps, but we gave them our unit's vision and they gave us their unit's vision. So if they move forward enough to meet Pink, we'll at least know about it. And they can rescind that part of the contract later, potentially. So we'll see how long it takes them to do that. But overall, I'm very happy with that outcome. They're not going to give us smelting tech. We're going to have to get our own smelting tech, and we will need it. Especially as it becomes more likely that green might declare war on us, like we should make sure we have weapons and stuff. Or at least the ability to quickly build weapons. Oh, I forgot to press the buttons. I was going to buy out. Let's fix that here at the beginning of this next turn. So the gold has run out. Reactivate, obviously. Purple has come to us, offering a trade of a resource I don't want in exchange for me giving them a bunch of a resource they do want. They will, I believe, not actually be annoyed if we refuse. Like, I think we won't lose approval with them, and I definitely don't want to do this. What we want more than anything is to just run a spices booster. And we're getting close. So yeah, let's buy some stuff out here. Definitely the mill foundry, definitely the sewers, definitely a market. Okay, the market's a little expensive. But we can, at the very least, buy up the basic resource buildings. I mean, we don't need to buy a seed storage. Kind of wonder if I want to just save for the central market buyout, because that'll push the city at least up into happy. No, I'm gonna buy the some of these basic resource buildings. Let's just get these established, and then we'll start working on the central market like this, and we'll buy out the seed storage as soon as winter ends. You have 4 tiles that have science on them. Yeah, I'll buy this too. No, I won't. Never mind. Well, we'll be able to buy a another building of that tier very soon. And like I said, we'll just spend it on the seed storage. Okay. Lots of good and important work being done here. You're working on that. You are headed back toward this quest ruin. And I don't think I'm going to search this turn. I think I'm going to wait until next turn when we're over here, because I think that probably, based on the warning we received, probably there is in fact going to be a hostile army that's going to spawn. We're going to search the ruin and then jump in the ocean and just sail away and unite with our troops, and then we can consider coming back to fight after we have formed up our army and stuff. So yeah. And slowly we burn down the fungal nonsense, covering our important resource deposits. Interesting. Hold on a second. What is your relationship with every other player? Okay, pretty much neutral. If we make peace with them, that makes it a lot safer for us to settle on their landmass. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this. Pretty unusual for the AI to come to you with an offer like that. It is probably not worth doing a vision and map exchange with them. You know, it's nice to be able to deal, but like we're still spending resources, right? But you know what? They do have water exploitation. I don't see a cargo dock, which is what we would need to be able to do ocean trade. But if they set up a cargo dock, we can start running trade routes across the ocean, and that'll be good for both of us in terms of both dust and science. Okay, let's go ahead and search this and then get ready to run. Yep, it spawned hostiles. And gave us 150 dust. The Vaulter's tireless work has borne... What? Nobody knows yet. It's time to explore the secret endless bunker. With a sufficiently powerful army, yeah. Defend the ruin for 10 turns. Every 2 turns, a new enemy army will spawn and attack you. At least one of your armies must remain in the region of the ruin and stay within 3 tiles of it. And that's a hell of a reward. So we're being attacked by a single vine snake, who we can definitely handle. And look at how many trees there are in this region. It's actually kind of wonderful. Alright, now there's a little bit of a tricky thing going on here. The vine snake has circular attack. So we want to try to stand in such a way that it will not get to hit multiple units. when it fires its attack off, but we also have more initiative than it does, and it only has 34 defense. So first of all, we can spread out after our turn starts, and secondly, we may just kill it. But I am gonna try to fan out a little bit here. So you run to there and fire. You can hit the shot from back here, right? 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, no, never mind. You are at max range right now. Yeah, okay. Hopefully we'll just get the kill. This is a remarkably weak Guardian. So they want me to leave this army over here for 10 turns. I don't really want to do that. One thing we could do is unassign Arla Sabor. Well, you know what? Arla Sabor should finish burning this down, and then we should just have her sail across. But unfortunately, we have to leave an army in this region the whole time. Yeah, it's going to slow things down a little bit, but it might be worth it. It's a lot of resources. We have to stay within 3 tiles of the ruins, so we can't even really go exploring. Alright, I guess you're just sitting there for the turn. This is definitely not a ruins quest that I've seen before. Obviously, this is part of the new DLC stuff, so I'm real curious where this is going, like if there'll be another step after this or anything. But I think this is maybe a sensible place to call it for today. We have taken our first steps today into a much larger world, and we sort of have a direction in mind, although apparently I'm not taking it terribly seriously. When you come back next time, tomorrow, hopefully we'll be able to wrap up this ruin defense thing and get back on our faction quest, because we sure do still have a lot of ground to make up. And we'll see you then.